All right, welcome everyone. I seem to can hear you clearly. I can see Leke, I can see Dari. Okay, who else can I see? Okay, bro, I can
Yeah,
see you clearly. Yeah,
how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for accepting our invite.
No problem. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
All right, Franklin, I can see you too. Yeah, I can see Franklin. Franklin is here. I want to change the background. Let me use a different background. Okay, this is better. Yeah, so Leke, we are waiting for you, Dari, and I think Pastor Tim is C.
I'm here now.
Okay.
Just give me a
It's ready.
second.
Okay, yeah.
I
Ah.
quickly have a question. As I thought we could do
Okay, so I think we are good to go. I just boss Pastor Tim listen now, so he will join us pretty soon. But we don't because already 4 past 6. So I think we can kickstart.
Yeah.
All right, welcome everyone. I really want to appreciate everyone for accepting our invite to have this major hangout for men. Most of the time, it's always hangout for women, but I felt we need to start creating certain conversations, and we need to start driving the narrative. What actually inspired this conference, this hangout, was a quote that I heard from TD Jakes on I think it was on Sunday last week. He had a talk with Brian Hastings, and he said something. He said when reasonable men keep quiet, or when reasonable men do not talk, unreasonable men drive the narrative. I don't think I can forget that quote anytime soon. TD Jake said that well, like when unreasonable men, I'm sorry, when reasonable men keep quiet, unreasonable men will drive the narrative, and it's happening now. Many of us that are reasonable are hustling. We are busy. We don't have time to drive any narrative. We are we are anticipating driving our narrative in the nearest future. And while we are waiting, unreasonable men are driving the narratives now. They are quote and unquote influencers. They call them influencers, so quote and unquote, and they are driving the narrative aggressively. While all the brothers are here, I doubt if you guys will have YouTube page, except Dari. I think Dari has a YouTube page. I doubt if we are active on Instagram. We are not, because, and it's true because it's a valid reason. We are all busy building, planning, and that's what reasonable men do. But we cannot overlook the aspect of controlling and directing narratives, because the next generation of men are looking up to men there to model after. And the fact is, they will not come and search for us if we are not present where they are. There is no way we will influence them. If we don't go to where they are, if we don't go to the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, if we don't create such engagement, there is no way we're going to have any influence on them. So that's why I decided to put up this hangout so that we can talk and discuss, because it seems right now men are endangered species. And let's not in the next 100 years, there's a high possibility that men will be carried away to somewhere in Mars and they'll put us there permanently. It's true. Men are endangered species from every angle, every corner. And every single day I realize there is a need for us to talk. There is a need for us to drive the narrative. There is a need for us. Banks today no longer have financial plan for men. There's always women empowerment, women loan. Bros, we too need loan now. Our bros, men need loan. No, it's true, because it's looking at men. We have it there. It's done, man. Once you're a man, you have 100 million in your account. That's not the way it is. We hustle the
now.
way these women hustle, you know. But the culture has built a certain myopic mindset towards men, and that's because men are not really speaking out. It's not all men that are doing fine. The fact that there's a narrative that yes, women are they have their challenges and stuff like that. There are a whole lot of men too that have serious challenges and issues, and no one seems to be driving that narrative in that aspect. So I believe that today we'll kickstart this, discourse, and move it on from there from time to time, and driving narrative. Pastor Timothy will join us in due course, and we'll take it up for there. So thank you, brothers, for connecting with me. Thank you, Leggy. Thank you, Dari. Thank you, Tayo. Thank you, Franklin Davis. I'm waiting for Pastor Timothy to join us. So we'll move in. That way, okay, he's here. I can see him here. Welcome, Pastor Timothy. Thanks for connecting with us. Thank you.
Good evening,
All right.
everyone.
So we are good to go. I sent the program to.
Thank you.
I sent the program to everyone, and we're going to start with a discussion for like 30 minutes. Then afterwards, we will move into the panel session where everyone will take on different topics. So, Mr. Oyeroko, you will talk more of finance. We need to learn from you how you built it, how you built wealth. We need to learn from you. Darren, you will speak on what do you call it? Whoa, what's happening? Drew will speak from the angle of social influence. Franklin, you will speak from the aspect of emotions, men's emotions. Leke, you will come in from the aspect of fatherhood, and Pastor Tumishe, you will speak from the aspect of spirituality. That's during the panel session. But now, let's just have a general discussion for like 20 minutes. Then we'll move to the panel session and discuss. Is that okay by everyone?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fine.
All right. So let's go. So I was doing a couple of search, and I came across some very, very scary analysis that is happening now, with the male gender in our world. And there is actually which one actually caught my attention, which is called the man box. Now, the man box is a social, how will I put it? It's a social ideology that is framed around men as, perfect beings. It's framed around men that as a man, you can easily get things going. You can easily get things going. You can easily, achieve that goal. You can easily, become successful being a man. And subconsciously, even that narrative it's affecting we men towards ourselves. When the brother comes to you for something, there is a mindset of, guy, you be man now, go hustle now, go do something. When the lady comes, there is a, okay, you know what, I'll see what I can do, and it's a culture. It's a culture that is gradually framing the masculine mindset. It's gradually framing the world on how women perceive men. And every generation of women are beginning to see men and that way. Even men too are beginning to see men that way. We are beginning to get so rigid. We don't communicate. We don't converse because of this man box ideology. That box that tells you that a man is a man. You have to be a man. From childhood, your parents are telling you, men don't cry. Come on, guy. Come on, men don't cry. Hold on, be a man, be a man, be a man. And being a man is not working. I mean, I've been a man for about 3 decades. I'm like, man, this thing has come. This thing has come, man.
Yeah. Say that again.
So what is your ideology? Why do you think that man box ideology is gradually becoming in vogue? Why do you think, what went wrong? Let's start with that. What went wrong? Where did the masculine or the male gender lose it? What went wrong? Because I know there was a time that men were at the forefront in the 70s, in the 17th century, the 16th century. It was all men, and women were okay. They were comfortable because the man goes, he hustles, he brings the things home, the women do the whole stuff. But it seems everything switched after the Second World War, I presume, where the whole narrative changed. And, there is a different perspective or a different picture that is being painted on men, on the men gender, as a case might be. There was a research I did, and they were talking about prostate cancer and the rate at which that prostate cancer affects a whole lot of men and kills a whole lot of men. And you'll be surprised that the noise you have towards cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, and the rest is not as loud as that of prostate cancer. As a matter of fact, people don't even talk about it. And I think it's an ego stuff, men. No, we are men, we are strong, man. We can't talk about such stuff, man. We are strong. And women actually have taken over the entire narrative. And where did we men lose that track? What happened? So who's going to go first? It's a general discussion before we move to more to the panel session. Where do we lose it? Look, you're smiling. You have something in your mind. What do you have to say?
Why me? Why me? See, but what you say is so true, and I can say free of charge that the 6 of us, no matter what angle we bring it from, we are all right. I can sit down free of charge. If it's from the the cultural side, if it's from the financial side, whatever angle we want to bring. So I would look at it from just from when we were small. You understand? Like what you were saying about the man box, for example. It's right from when we were small. There's almost like a set of rules that we have to play by, right? And also, like you said, those rules worked up till time when that song, that challenge they were doing, flip the switch,
Yeah.
All of a sudden, somebody flipped the switch, and by the time everything came, all those rules didn't change, but the platform for those rules to occur changed. You understand? More of the female gender started to make headway into territories that were traditionally men. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, that's a discussion for another day.
For that, yeah.
But the rules stayed the same for the men, but the platform changed. It's like you have a software for
Okay.
Windows,
When you say
Windows
platform,
7.
is a
Okay,
very
yeah.
broad statement. Yeah, explain platform.
Yeah,
What is it?
so I'm going to use the Windows analogy. So you have the operating system Windows 7. No, sorry, Windows XP, right? And then you want to install that Windows XP on a 2020 system that the manufacturer has said, look, Windows XP is outdated, and you're forcing it to install on that particular system. Now, talking about that system is where the platform comes in. The platform, in the sense that the way we work has changed, the way we
Okay.
raise families has changed.
Okay.
The narratives concerning the head of the house, for every married person here, we know that those narratives have changed. You
Okay.
understand? So the traditional roles of men, right? That those rules told us that this is what defines a man. Those traditional roles are no longer obtainable in today's world. Today's world being the platform. And so if we take the family front, for example, you understand? It is no longer women stay at home and take care of the kids. The
True.
wife is
Very
probably
true.
bringing more to the table than the guy. So
That the
how
guy,
do
yeah.
we how do we navigate that?
Mm.
Our validity as men does not change, but these rules that we have more or less like bought into over time, right? That's now become how we define men. For example, like you said, that men don't cry. That's the biggest scam. Crying has nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman.
A woman.
Crying is a natural expression of emotion that God wired into us.
True.
Tayo, you're
True.
laughing. I'm sure you understand what I mean. So,
True.
so you have the guy,
Yes, I do.
and
I do.
we've grown. All of us are maybe in over 3 decades here. There are certain
Yeah.
times you just want to cry to
Many
release
times.
stress, and that thing they say that when you are crying out of sorrow, 80% of the tears, right? It's releasing stress. So when I bottle in that stress all over the years, I'm going to explode somewhere. So you understand? So that is one angle of it. No matter how many angles we look at it, but the last thing I will say as to how this thing arrived to where we are is the narrative about it's like the big elephant in the room, the narrative about the feminism, the female
Yeah.
equality, and what have
Yeah.
you understand? I
Yeah.
have nothing wrong in some of the things they are fighting for, but
True.
when you now try to push it to the stage of it is us against them, you are
Them.
creating another monster. And you are doing women empowerment, giving grants to women. Excuse me, what of the male child?
True.
You understand? So
True. Yeah.
let me just leave it at that point.
Rabbit.
That the platform,
We say rabbit has
we have
changed.
a lot. So let me hear from my brother, because see,
I actually
my
love that.
biro and paper is here. I want to learn.
I love that part that the platform has changed, and it's very, very valid. There are people like us now. Our wife makes more money than us. It is very valid truth.
My brother.
She makes more money than me. But I'll also explain some few things, because even despite that, there is still that position of a man that I believe most men have
Oh
actually
yes. Oh
lost. In
yes.
terms about being the man in the house and stuff like that. So speaking about the man box, Pastor Timothy, yes, it's a general world, and everybody have different religious scope. And you being a pastor, we learned how what happened to Adam, what happened to Eve, how man fell. But Timothy, are you there, sir? Okay, I don't think he's here. Okay, I think that we can sit in for him. We learned about what happened to Adam, Eve, and what at the Garden of Eden, how man fell, and all those other stories, and and the rest. Do you think that also has a little role to play with this man box thing, in terms of how it all went wrong? That man lost that identity as a man. Do you think there has any role to play?
Okay.
Briefly.
Well, I also, it's good to see you guys. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, sir.
I think it's also important that we understand that I'm trying to put it in a very, very practical way, so we're on the same page. The Bible is a spiritual book, but at the same time, we must also understand that the Bible is deeply explained through cultural interferences. Now, when we understand that, you then understand how the people who push this narrative have been able to explain to people who need understanding that the Bible is nothing but a cultural book. And if it's a cultural book and cultures evolve, you understand where they're getting it from. That's why they always say that cultures are meant to evolve. So even if the Bible is correct about men coming first and blah blah blah, that culture has evolved, and now a man, so the people who are shaping these things are very intelligent. They understand how to put together narratives, so they have explained to this upcoming generation that the Bible is nothing but a cultural book, just like any other book. New revelation occurs. And the new revelation is saying, what, that was before and this is now. So we who are in this space must also understand that we're fighting against people who understand the way things are shaped and how they are ready to push these narratives. But when we get to the sociological part, which is what you have told me to talk about, I don't know why.
Yeah, you'll. No, I decided to bring the 5 of you guys because I know that you guys had loaded a different aspect. I mean, I'm sure you can't see the way we're is just quiet. If you start talking now, when I start dishing out all the information, is really passionate about empowerment, and it's true. It's true. We need to, I wrote a post some time ago on Facebook, and it really caused a whole lot of trouble with all these feminists. And I was really practical with the aspect of, as a man, we need to ensure that we empower ourselves. Most men live their lives for their families, for their wives, their spouses, their children, and you hustle, you pay your children's school fees and stuff like that. At the end of the day, the children grow up. I'm talking about the African culture now. We are Africans. There's no, we don't have any white man there. We are core African men. And if you look at our parents today, you'll find out that most of the men are the ones who are just at home. Just there. The women are there. They've gone visiting that child, meeting that child, going to that child, seeing that child. And the man is just there hanging and waiting, whatever happens, to meet his children. And it's a culture that is beginning to grow amongst women, whereby we spend decades of our years doing a whole lot of things for other people, families, friends, children, spouse, or our home, and we don't really put anything for ourselves, forgetting that all these people will grow to a particular point and it will be us. And in that aspect comes issues like discovering your purpose. I keep telling myself that if I get to my old age and my wife decides to go and visit the 5 children, I'm also carrying my bag to go on a book tour. Fact. And there's first class tickets. So I'll ask you, do you want first class tickets, with a 5-star hotel treat, or you want to go and see all your children? Which one do you want? Choose. I can bet you no woman will miss the opportunity to go with the first class. So I think many men don't have, and many of our parents didn't really see this, which is gradually becoming a trend in our generation today. It's gradually becoming a trend because I don't think I've ever entered the zone of hustle as much as I was in my youthful day. In my youthful day, I was very youthful. Life was just live life every day. But getting married, having kids, growing, the hustle mentality is coming, and you're thinking of so many things: friends, families, uncle, child, school fees, loan, and you're not really thinking about yourself. And I realize that many of us spend the next 20, 30 years doing this, and suddenly we're at 60. And at 60, the children are there all married. And next thing, mom and mom is there in London, UK, Nigeria, and that didn't call that man was just my mama, and you just realize that is at home, 6 months, only him watching DSTV at sports, most of the friends, and it happens that way. But I've also learned from some other men, because some other men, like our fathers of faith, for instance, now, even at their old age, they are busy. It's the children that are coming to greet them because the guy doesn't have time. These men are busy. They are at their old age, in their 60s, 70s, they are still, fulfilling purpose. And I think that's also one aspect. And when I made that post, the ladies came on me and said, "We are pursuing masculinity. Why can't the man hustle for the whole family?" I say, "I'm missing the narrative. Men first. Even Bible says, love yourself, love your neighbor like yourself. If you don't love yourself first as a man, there is not, you can't, it will be limited. Your impact will be limited. Your influence will be limited." And I think a whole lot of young generations are beginning to drive that picture, drive that narrative of working for the family, for the children, and a whole lot. And it's beginning to control our psyche as men. Guy, when last did you buy skincare products for yourself? You confess, when last did you buy like a cream, like skincare, like taking touch your face? Skincare.
Does that exist?
When last do you think of just doing something for yourself as a man, as a brother? We don't do that. We're always thinking of the children, the wife, the family, how to grow things, how to set that business, how to do this. That's what is in our minds. And interestingly, the women have also joined the same narrative. And I see it happening to in the next 100 years. They will also begin to face that same challenge we are facing now. It's not easy to hustle. Nobody likes the hustling life. God created women to enjoy. If you want to hustle. But God created women to enjoy what men hustle. But like what Leke said, the platform has changed. But even at that, I believe men's thinking back in the days, back in the 16th, 17th century, is way different now. We have a retrograde kind of thinking now, a thinking that is just more of challenges, problem, fulfillment. You're trying to do everything together at the same time, simultaneously, while also, taking care of your families, your kids, your home. Everything is just working simultaneously. And the pillar, which is the man, is not being paid attention to. That's why many men have terminal illness. Many men don't realize they are beginning to have sicknesses till it is all gone, because our mind doesn't think that we're like sickness. I'm strong, man. And all those things actually drives that point. So what I would just do, I think I will just delve into the panel session, as we're discussing. So let's look as we are having a breakout, and I also move that way. So, bro, Mr. Oyeroku, I'd like you to come from the angle of wealth creation, and because, sincerely speaking, I won't lie to you, it's one major area that many men are facing challenges, major issues, major problem, because the opportunities now are limited, because the women are also competing for that same opportunity. They are limited, and let's be very honest with ourselves. Feminists don't like me saying this, but I say it a whole lot of time. Women have more advantage than men. In fact, in Africa, in Nigeria, forget it. Women have more advantages than men. It's only a woman who wants to hold on to her value system. And now that's a different discussion entirely. But if a woman wants to go all out to get something, she will get it. If a man wants to go all out to get something, he might not get it. In fact, no matter how you go all out, because it's a cultural thing. I'm trying to use our culture, the African culture now, not the global culture now. What do you think is a major cause of men? I mean, how would I put the question now? Why is it that African men are more hustlers than wealth creators? Is that clear? Is that I don't know if that question is clear. That because African men are more hustlers. They can shake it, loud, sharp, jama. It's more of grab it than building wealth, systematically building wealth. If you look at the Western culture, I think it's a black thing. Let's make it a black thing now. If you look at the Western culture now, this is not racism, but if you look at the Western culture, the white people, the Jews, for instance, they are taught how to build. You find themselves there, they build. They build from scratch. The Indians too have that same culture where they build wealth and build enough wealth for even the next generation. But if you look at we blacks and we Africans, there is a hustle mentality. There is a hustle. 1 million naira here, 50k here, 20k here. You are doing only you are doing real estate, only you are doing finance, only you are doing this one. Yeah, you're just everywhere to just grab the whole thing. And I've realized that process does not work. Many of our parents involved themselves in that hustle. At the end of the whole day, there was nothing to really count for. All they had was just a house, 2 cars, and that was it. No legacy, no wealth for the next generation. Many of us are actually blaming our parents for not even building wealth like Dangote. If not, we'll not be hustling. We'll be living large. Perhaps if we 10 million, business. If we loan, it will not be easy. Many of our parents did not. They were busy hustling. Some were so lackadaisical. They were just salary earners, civil servants, live your life, spend, grow, and everything. The other ones who felt they were building wealth were just hustlers. So what do you think is the major challenge? Is it a cultural thing, Mr. Oyeroku? Is it a cultural thing? Is it a cultural thing that just is it survival mentality? What's the cause?
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see everyone on the platform again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One thing I would just say here, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now, one thing I would just say is that most men like I've been doing this. I didn't even know you were going to ask me this question. Fortunately, I have quite a lot of staffs, and they are young. I intentionally did that. And one of the things I've noticed I've had a problem with is greed. All right. The mention greed is so that I'm getting to the point. Now, most times, most men allow pressure. You see, if you want to grow wealth, one of the things you need to avoid, all right, in the first place, is avoid pressure when you're working or doing anything from home. You see, most people make this mistake. I tell people this. I said, I've seen some men, once they get money, for example, the thing they desire, for example, they've gone to their friend's house, they saw a plasma TV, and immediately they are thinking in their head, I want to own that because my friend owns it. Now, what I'm trying to say there again is this. You need to put yourself on limited pressure, very limited pressure. Now, this limited pressure is this. You see, I was telling somebody that the amount you earn does not determine whether you can build a house or own a house. A lot of people make that mistake. Think until they're able to earn X amount of money, that's when they can build or own a house. All right? Most times, you need to, when you're becoming successful or you're improving gradually as a young man, when your life is improving gradually, I will always advise that you don't try to expand immediately. All right? You don't try to expand immediately. What you need to do is try to probably maintain the same status quo. Most men, because of peer pressure, oh, I want to be seen driving a car because my friends are already doing well in 5 years, they don't get these things right. Another thing is because I don't want to put women in a box. Most times, I have helped quite a number of young men, help them, and I will tell you one of the problems I have with them when it comes to growing this wealth is the pressure they face from home. They don't know how to manage it. Women always want more. Women desire better. Women want you to get to point B. But you need to see them. I always have this strategy. I was teaching someone recently. I said, one of my artisans, I said, go back home, take your wife on a 5,000 naira dinner, and explain your vision to him or her. To her. Know where you are going to. Now, when you carry women along as a man, they feel part of the vision. They feel they are part of it. But when you are just telling them, like, take them on a date, no child, no kids, nothing. Take your wife on a date and tell your wife, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm about to get to. This is how I'm about to start. All right? Now, at the end of the day, I can tell you, when a woman feels she's part of the growing system, she will contribute. If she has to cook once in a day and get something for the children to eat money because you guys need to save, she will do it. I will give you an example. I've seen women who will go into monthly contributions, all right? Tell people there's nothing I have today that 50% of them for my wife. Because she has a clear plan. Before we got married, I told her I'm going back to Nigeria. Clear. I told her I'm going into real estate. I told her this is where I'm taking you to. So I was very clear with her on what I was going to do. I didn't put myself under pressure. On my wedding day, I was focused on buying a house first than the wedding. And I told my parents, if you want a wedding that is massive, which they got, you have to pay. This is what I'm going to pay for. But what I want is to buy a house in London first. I didn't even have where I was going to put my wife. Guess what? I bought that house, £170,000 in London. Today, that house is £450,000.
Wow.
Just by that decision. Just by making that diligent decision. Now, let me tell you, when I came back, when I wanted to come back to Nigeria, I could pull out as much as £100,000 from that house to come and set up a business here. But during those periods when we were doing that, myself and my wife, we were not driving nice cars. There was no pressure. My parents were looking at us like, you guys are doing well. Why are you not doing X, Y, and Z like your brothers? Why are you not traveling? Why are you not going on holidays? But we decided, I always advise men, this may not be applicable to everybody, but please, if you really want to grow wealth and live a good life, see, don't look at today. That's my principle. I tell people what I'm going to eat for in 5 years. I have it already. I am thinking of when I'm 45 and above. Don't look at today. Why? If I would not invest in something for now, I can afford to buy myself a new car. If I see a plot of land today, I will buy it. All right? As I have is enough for me. One of the things men must learn to do is avoid pressure. Pressure. Sit down. Your wife will come. Okay, let me give you an example. I helped 4 of our friends with Uber. Do you know 3 of them have been defaulting? Do you know why they're defaulting? I noticed it was pressure from home.
Wow.
Pressure from home.
Wow.
Now, I have renewed the contract several times just to help these guys grow, but that pressure from home was there. I called 2 of them recently. I collected my car and I told them to go. Guess what? I felt bad. I gave them the car after a week. They still came back to me. Guess what happened? They are not. I told them something, but I had collected that car from you. That thing you want to do, that your wife's burial ceremony that she needs to attend, that you need money for, will it not happen? You understand?
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh, that was that. I was really getting a lot. Oh yeah, I think we would connect. Yeah, we would. Yeah, it did. That pressure aspect is very important. You know, it's not. It is here in this. We that we are back home, but those that are in diaspora, I really pity them. Sincerely speaking, I pity them because even
we in Nigeria, there's so much. So Leke knows where my office is currently situated. The property belongs to a classmate of mine that we went to KC together. Do you understand? Now, I always tell my wife literally, I say, you guys don't get it that a man lives under perpetual pressure. Pressure of environment, pressure of provision, pressure of birthing your dream, pressure and I tell her, I said, being a loving husband comes with this pressure.
Yeah.
Now, your wife needs to get this done. The reason I'm going out of my way to get it done is not because I want to prove to you anything. I just don't like seeing you not happy. You understand? So we always live in perpetual pressure to bet this pressure. See, you know, and I hear Tayo clearly, and maybe I'll get to that when we talk about this social influence thing, which is why sometimes I just go on Instagram. In fact, my wife has warned me to give Instagram to give 24 hours Instagram break, and every time I see that, and it's not really our fault. You see, also in this discussion, which is what I think I'll talk about with the social influence, men are wired to be competitive. We're wired to bet things. We like to see things work. We like to see things happen. That's the way we're wired. We want to go for this next thing, go for that next thing. Pastor Franklin is here now. I'm sure if you ask him now, is he thinking of 4 branches or 4 that this?
Yeah, he wants to do.
If you ask Pastor Timothy, oh, the clothing is not enough. We need to go to our.
We have to hit some whales.
We are constantly looking to birth more, and that's the God that we serve. You know, our God is like that. You know, so we're not doing something that is not us. You understand? But I think where the balance is we must learn how to understand this balance, and that balance thing, you know, it's not a spiritual platform. But at the end of the day, there's just that thing the Spirit brings to you. Tayo is back now, yeah?
Yeah, he is. Okay, yeah, continue to
Tayo.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So, like I said, but one of the things I feel that are affecting, listen, one thing I've learned to understand as a young man also is this: we can all be the same. All right, we can all be the same. God that created millionaires, created billionaires, created people who are billionaires in dollars. But the truth about it is this: I will encourage every man. When we're even talking about manhood, you see, let's be honest. If you can take care of your home, you will win respect from your wife. Trust me.
10
Like we were
points.
talking about
10
first class
points.
ticket and all that. You will, all right? You will win respect from life. The about it is, I'm not coming here to deceive you that at the beginning I was richer than my wife. My wife was richer than me. She was a midwife in the UK, any more than me. But I had a clear vision of where I was going to. All right. But because I had carried her along, she could invest in me. All right. She could do it that.
Wow.
I have friends who earn more than me who don't own one property.
Wow.
Just one property. They don't own it. But they keep asking
Wow.
me, Tayo,
Interesting.
how do you do these things that you own this property in the UK? It's because I decided, I was determined that I wanted to be successful, not just by determination, but the level of success also determines your personality. Listen, not everybody can hustle and bustle like I do. I must commend, I probably not told him before, Adeleke. I've seen him write some books on fatherhood and all that. I follow that
Yeah.
stuff. I may not, sorry, I may
Wow.
not be commenting, but I see
Thanks,
him trying
man.
to change the narrative on men and their thinking. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, Leke's perspective is from that angle. All he has to do, sorry, I'm mentioning you, but all he has to do is
No,
build
go ahead.
gradually. You see,
Yeah.
consistency is what matters. If I am able to hit it within 2 years, does not mean Leke cannot get what he's doing is a fantastic. You see, Nigeria is not ripe for what he's doing. Let me put it that way. All right, but Nigeria is not really ripe in quotes for what he's doing. But it will get to a point when discussions like this continue that there will be a demand for men to start changing their mentality that will
Yeah.
make
Valid.
who is the next
Yes.
point of
Very
call.
valid.
I think I've been seeing Leke on Facebook in the past 10
Yeah.
years. He's the one I'm
Yeah.
going to call. He knows
Yeah.
about this. He's been
True.
talking about this problem. Are you getting me? So one thing I just always
Yeah.
say is this consistency. All right? Consistency. I have seen so many. See, I don't want to keep mentioning it, but I've seen a lot of us on this platform trying to redefine ourselves and trying to rejuvenate ourselves, trying to come up with ideas. I can assure you, all you need to do is consistent. Be consistent. As long as you are focused, you have a point, you have a vision, you have a direction. All right. Listen, I may be doing things that is making me look as if everyone will see me today. Unfortunately, I need to be worried about not disappearing from the screen in 5 years. You don't have that pressure. That's the truth.
Yeah.
You don't have that pressure of not disappearing from the screen in the next 5 years. If you come out too early, the pressure is more. All right, it's more because you want to keep sustaining it. But I can
Yeah.
assure you, as a man, like we talked about, just be diligent. When the little come in, buy a land in the boundary of Ogun State, fence it up, get a land. I have colleagues who text me on WhatsApp. We've not spoken in years. Tari, I want to buy land in Ibeju. Advice where? I tell people, I can tell you locations where to invest in Nigeria that will increase in the next 2 to 3 years. All right. I bought land for some people in Lekki, for example, and in 3 years, from 4 million, it became 30 million because I have the foresight for it. Are you getting me? Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
imagine you come to me, you're diligent in future, and you say to me, "Oh, Tayo, you know what? I don't have a lot of money, but I have 1 million. Let me put it here. I may be able to advise you in a place that will build it to 3 million. From 3 million, you may be able to reinvest it to make it 10 million. But please do not allow pressure from home
From home.
avoid you from saving and investing for the future. I would just want to stop there.
Wow, wow,
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
one very very valid point. I'm still come to you, Mr. Oyoroku, later. There's a question I want to ask you. But speaking about not allowing pressure, to come towards you as a man. Now, I want to Pastor Timishe. There is a school of thought that we have that a man is a spiritual head of the home. I won't lie to you. See, I'll be very honest. This men's hangout it is a pressure that even I myself sometimes wonder. Okay, God created Adam and Eve. Adam have man, Eve have both of them become one. So both of them are the head of the home. But there is this patriarchal mindset that we have, that the man must be the spiritual head, he must be the Bible study head, he must be the firebrand head, he must be the one that cast out demons. And we just realize that even we as Christian men, there is so much pressure. You want to be the one to want to pray more, you want to do this more, you want to carry the whole house. There is a burden you're trying to carry your home on your head. Is it valid, sir? Is it valid that the man must be the spiritual head? When I mean spiritual, I don't mean financial or any, I mean spiritual. Is it a valid statement that the man must? Now that's the key word, must be.
Yes,
it can be a joint thing with him and his wife, or should it be his wife, or should it be joint, or should it be the man only?
I believe strongly from scriptures. Bible talks about the fact that Genesis 2:15, that God took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden to tend and to keep. So God made known the purpose for the making of a man. The man is to take the leadership role in the home. So a man should be ahead of his wife. It shouldn't be a situation whereby you find a man in a home whereby his wife is taking the lead role in spiritual things. A real man should be a man who can hear God for himself, who knows the purpose of God for his home, the will and the counsel of God. He must be well aware of all these things. So a real man is a man who is spiritually sound. I'm not saying that you should be this Jim kind of a person, but should be a man that can hear God. In a love relationship, in marriage, a man should be above. He should be ahead of his spouse. Because in the Garden of Eden, Eve took the position of leadership. And that changed the state of things. Man was laid back, and then Eve took leadership. And that way, God was not satisfied with what he saw. God was not satisfied with what happened, because the man was given a role that he refused to play, and the woman took the position of leadership. So I believe that in that context, a man should be ahead of his spouse. It could be a joint thing. Iron should sharpen iron, but the man should take it upon himself that I have the responsibility of being the head. It's not just a title. It is a function that God has called us to be the head of the wife. And you can't help your wife if you are not spiritual. It takes a man who is Christ-like to head a home. So if he's laid back in spiritual things, he will as well be laid back in other things. He'll be laid back in loving his wife as Christ loved the church. He'll be laid back in laying good example for his children. So I believe it's a vital role. It is something every man should look into in developing his own spiritual work with God. It's very vital. And apart from that, I want to touch on the issue of pressure, because really every one of us, we've been under pressure at one point or at one time or the other in our lives. And pressure is the very reason why we have young people who are not interested in purpose. Young people are not really thinking about what God's purpose is for their life. Every young man just wants to get results. We're just so driven about results, about getting a car, getting a house in a beautiful place and all of that. But when we bow to pressure, we forget what purpose is. And the truth of the matter is, as men, we must refuse to bow to pressure. Pressure finds a way. Pressure has a way of pushing you outside of God's will. You just put God's will aside, and you start, you get caught up in the rat race. My friend is doing this, I must do it as well. Pastor Daniel's doing this, me too. What am I doing? I must make it happen. And then we forget the God factor in our makeup. We are God-like nature. We're God-like nature. So we should not allow pressure to blind us from the very being that God has made us to be. He has made us to be men, and men in everything we're called to.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you.
Awesome.
I mean, every point is coming towards one angle. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Okay, Jay, just hold on, Jay. I'll ask you, I will come to you now. Let me just ask Franklin. He mentioned something about pressure. And, Franklin, you're going to come from a little bit of
Okay.
the emotional aspect, because one way that the way God has built the woman, she handles pressure by letting go emotionally, like by she either cries or she screams or she shouts, or if that's the way they let it go. But I don't know if it's how God made men or how society made men. We are told when you have pressure, you swallow it. You you put the pressure on you. You lock up. That's the word. That's the word they use. That you just when the
Lock
pressure
up.
comes on you, you just lock up and go mute. Like you just go mute. You're not that men should not be expressive when they're under pressure. That's the word. So what's your take? Because I know you've been through that. You've had stories on how you're able to free yourself from this emotional pressure and over time. And as men, I know that many men are always told that lock up when you're in problem, just zone in, just lock up, man, and just even when the wives ask what's wrong with you, yeah, just don't worry, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm fine, everything is fine. Now, like, nothing is fine. It's not fine. Things are not fine, but just the man pain. So what's your take? What's your take from that, from the emotional angle, Franklin?
All right.
Clearly.
Yeah, we
So
can.
can
We can,
everybody hear
yes.
me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I'm
It's
so
raining
sorry. It's raining
everywhere.
in Lekki, and
Yeah.
you know what happens when. so I have tried sitting in my car to do the broadcast, staying in the room. Now I'm at the steering post. Next time I thought it was.
Oh my goodness.
um, I think that one of the reasons why the average man in this time that we've lived in, or that we're living in, I think that one of the reasons why we will never get to move to our God ordained purpose or the destination that God has kept for us is because we do not know how to handle our own emotions. Now, I know that that's a very cliche thing to say, but it's in itself, it's a reality. And there are a few things that I don't know whether you guys mind if I touch on before I go to what I have to say. Number one, in my experience, I understand that there are cultural pressures, and there of course there are different things that put pressure on the man, and usually the narrative is that the reaction is usually the same for every man, but that is not true. There are men, fellow men like us in they are 35, 36, 37, however old they are, that when pressure is applied on them, they react. And there are other men who are very emotionally aware. And there are several things that will definitely contribute to how robust your emotion is. So there are many people who grew up in societies that do not allow men to express their emotions. There are other people who were raised by people who said, if something happens to you, scream because you will die before your time if you do not. So it is. I've come to a point where I realized that it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. Every man react, or every human being, not even every man, every human being reacts to pressure differently. And what I like to tell people in the brother circle, that the organization that we started is called Brother Circle, is that how you need to learn about your own self. How do I react to it? How can I harness and how can I manage it? Now, going back to what you're talking about the place of pressure and how men are supposed to react, and that's why I said number one that
Yeah.
most men do not. It's not a one size fit all. So Daniel, maybe for
Yeah.
example, maybe something happened. You may not be someone that you like to go and say, Bolaji, come, let us sit down and talk about this thing. If not, one day you don't realize that I'll just start removing my clothes on the road and be walking down public. Then Tayo may be like, I got this, baby. I got this. You don't have to worry. Don't worry about anything. I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
And so once after a while, you realize that yes, there are different pressures, but all of us do not react to it the same way.
Different ways.
And understanding how you react to the pressures that come in your life will determine how successful you are or how the level of your progress. So how does it work with you? So for me, when I come under pressure, I like to talk. And that's not what typical dudes like to do. Right? Men like to, well, we're gonna get it handled one after the other.
Yeah.
But I saw my father keep quiet so much that he used to take it out on my mother. Now he didn't used to beat her, but it was the emotional abuse was too much to a point where I seem to believe that she developed breast cancer because of all that stress, and she died at 45. And when you go through those kind of things, you realize I'm going to die if I don't say something. If I don't call Daniel and if I don't call Daniel and tell him, dude, we started this church 2018 March, and it doesn't look like it's moving the way I want to. It's like I'm going to pack up and go to America. All my kids have blue. I'm serious. All my kids have blue passports. I'll tell them when they're coming to take them, they should carry me along, right? Because if I don't do like that, I may come to a point.
Wow.
Maybe it's time to go to the toilet.
All right, so before Frank comes back quickly, I want us to be out of here in next 30 minutes here about. So just a general discussion. I'm still going to come to everyone, but Dre, I have a very, very controversial question for you. Very controversial question for you, and it's okay. Franklin's back. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So we react differently to pressure. So if one of the things I want anybody listening, whether you listen now or you listen to the future, ask yourself, or just look at the patterns of your life. There are different the things that have happened in your life and the ways that you have reacted to them each time. What's the results that you get, and how do you react to those things? When you're able to discover those patterns, then you can say, oh, based on this is how I react when I come under pressure. There are people who break, and I'm the king of being in my feelings. I like to be in my feelings because if I'm not, I like to be in touch with myself. And my wife is really the opposite because she's very strong. In fact, there was I used to joke to my wife that it looks like she's the husband in the relationship. Because smart sister, and she's very strong. It takes a lot for her to unload, and every time that she unloads, I know that something is wrong. A few days ago, she texted me from her office, and she says, I know what this entire COVID thing is doing to your photography business, and I know that it's beginning to wear you down, and I know that I don't even know what is going to happen now or in the future to my job security. So we need to start looking at everything. And it was, you know what? At that time, it's like
sparked up something.
Sparked up something.
Just
because I'm thinking, because she doesn't talk often, or she never complains, and everything. God has been faithful to us, and the things that we have are usually all right. So when she came and said, we need to either start. I don't believe in side hustle. I don't believe in side hustle. I believe in investment, because I put so much energy and zest into everything that I do. I'm a very passionate person, and like everybody can see. So he said we need to diversify now. Is it that we started putting some money out into some investment so that we can make a lot more money? And because I know I have seen in the past 5 to 7 years that this is how she reacts to things when they happen, I know better than to say, oh, let me wait until she talks again. So look at the patterns of your life and say, how have I reacted in when this happened, this happened, this happened, and this happened? Then I can say, based on this so indices, that's how I react, and that is how I can harness what I'm going through. Pressures will come. It is normal, it will come, but you have to look at your life and say, this is how I react, and this is what I can do when I get back into
Franklin. So, all right, Franklin. I picked some few key points there, which is I think is very valid in terms of everyone understanding your individuality and using that to build your own framework, how you react to challenges and problems. So, I'm still going to come to you. But Dre, yes, I have a very, very controversial question for you. Very controversial. Now, and you're going to be speaking to feminists. I'm sure a few of them are listening. A few of them will listen probably later. And I'm very controversial too. I give it to them hot because I don't have time for their nonsense. Especially the African. No, there is the global feminism. There is the African feminism. Their one is different. Their one is just irritating, And there is this new ideology they have in this our culture, especially for the younger generation. Now, you are speaking to the younger men and the younger women who are gradually becoming, anti-men feminists. That's the word I'll use. Anti-men feminists. There's the ideology that all men have to offer in this generation is sex. A man's strength is his manhood, like the real manhood. That's what they see. They don't believe a man can add anything to a woman. They don't believe a man can help a woman attain. Many of us we've been married for a couple of years and we've been able to even help our wives to attain some certain things in their own personal lives. But in this generation now, it's a different ball game. When a young woman meets a man, it's sex. Especially a career woman, a woman who has a banking job, she earns 500K per month, she has a car, a good house. The value equity of man is no longer in existence. There is nothing that women no longer see men as agents of value. Women just see men as objects, as tools. So why do I need you in my life when I can pay my bills? I can drive my own car. I can wear my own clothes. I have my own money. I can live my own life. I can have my own children. Just go to a sperm bank and get a sperm donor and have my own kids. Why should a woman need a man in this generation? So the answer is quite controversial and quite technical. So you are speaking to men, but you are answering women. Do you get it? Why should a woman who has a good job, 100K per month, have a solid car, lives in Lekki, good house, good finance, she can actually have her own kids, she can be a single mother, and why should she need a man in his life? So you are defining the qualities a man should have that will make that woman attracted to him, and also answering those women too and telling them, there are men that have these qualities, look out for them. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Not to make them come for me. I think it's important that everybody gets to a point where we know it is not a competition. We need to be comfortable in that reality that we are not in a competition. When we realize we are not in a competition, we will be able to deal with most of these gray areas. A woman is a woman. I can never be a woman. That's one. Number two, a man is a man. A woman can never, I repeat, never do the things that a man does. Now, people might take extreme ends based on probabilities, and that's the danger with society. People go to pick sample spaces of maybe the 0.005% of happenings in the world and make it a global phenomenon. Now, because you have single mothers who have been able to raise responsible, strong children, does not mean that it is easy for that woman to raise a child. I am from a single mother raising up, and I can tell you the woman is literally sometimes dysfunctional because she has to be the loving mother and the instructional father all in one. It is pressuring for them. Now, there are mothers who, by issue of unfortunate incidences, have to raise children by themselves. I want to announce to people it is never comfortable for them. Your mothers might not have told you, but that is what mothers do.
Yeah.
They will literally shield us from a lot of things.
From those things, yeah.
But if they
Yeah.
want to tell you it was not comfortable raising children alone, it wasn't. So you are the mother that is talking and pulling the child, then you have to be the disciplinarian at the same time. It can be chaotic for a human being to exist like that. You know, it is only God that can be messy and judgmental at the same time, because it can be anything to us. That's why
Well,
it's
yeah.
called-
Yeah.
You know, for a human being, it can be difficult having to exist in those different shapes and positions
Yeah.
over time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one. Then another challenge is this. When I hear women say, "Oh, what do men bring apart from this?" I laugh. Now, just on this screen right now are 5 people with 5 different levels of intelligence and gifts. Just watching this now, you can tell that even men are not the same. Even men, even we
Valid.
men, we are
Valid.
not the same.
Valid.
Even here now, you have the calm Leke, you have the calm Pastor Franklin, you have the Tayo that is a full-blooded man. He's either fully or not in it at all. Just right here now. So if as men we are different, can ladies please understand? It's not competition.
Valid.
To settle that
Valid.
first.
Valid.
For instance,
Valid.
if I want to do something now, I want my wife to do something, I'll tell her 6 months in advance. Because my wife
It's
they process
very different.
They must process it. Do you understand? And you can only be perfectly yourself. Every other thing you have to learn on the way. Every other attitude you have to learn. You have to just learn because of what life has given to you. Do you understand? So women need to understand it. So when you say, "Oh, I only get money, I only get that," I want to announce to those women, it is the men you have met to, and it's not our fault that you are meeting those kind of men that you think only will give you sex and all. And can you just imagine you being married to Tayo? Are you just imagining?
That's true. Always thinking investment.
So it's not that you are married to somebody who can inspire you, or somebody who can give you some levels of intelligence. My wife wants to take a business decision or want to do something. She knows where to come to. The reservoir is waiting here in the house with you. Short form. You understand? So it's not a competition. We need to understand that. And that's why collaboration is difficult in this part of the world. Because everybody is building his own.
It's competing. Yeah.
What is there?
Yeah.
It's not competition.
Yeah.
We must learn how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And
wow. I think we've lost Dari there.
Oh, have you? I'm still here.
No, yeah.
Okay, I think it's from my end.
Oh, okay. I'm still here. I'm still live. Oh, don't lose me. Oh.
Don't leave me.
Don't leave me.
Yeah, I think it's from Daniel.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
there's a little network glitch. I'm black. I'm back.
good.
Yeah, there's a little glitch.
All right.
So that's it, really.
Okay, so
I don't want to.
Okay, I was about asking. I'm going to come back to you, Leke, and I'm going to really ask also a semi-controversial question to Leke. It's on the new ideology that is also there. And I want to come to Mr. Oyoroku now. You mentioned something earlier about pressure. Now there is another angle of pressure that I want to direct to you. You know, like you mentioned, plan for the future, build wealth for yourself, invest in assets and properties and everything, but there is a balance, and the balance is living based on your standards per time and also investing for your future. Now, there is this culture that we grew up with in Africa. They say in Yoruba land that issue anybody, you should hide it. And I'm like, okay, for how long do you want to hide the issue? Because when you hide it for too long, it will start decaying. It will start decaying, and there's a joy that, okay, when you are so rich, just hide somewhere. If you have what it takes to live in Lekki, don't live in Lekki. Go and stay in Mowe. Stay in that access. That's where you can actually stay or something. you know, and it's a culture. Yeah, it's a culture that I believe as as eating into our system. So, how do you, in terms of managing pressure, especially from extended families, because that's where even the African pressure is quite elaborate, it's quite much. It's quite much. It's from both in family, in your nuclear family pressure from wife and children is expected, is normal. That's family pressure. But from the extended angle, from the extended family, that it's like the moment they see you change your car, they don't want to know. They don't want to. I myself, I've intentionally decided to stay off many of them over time because of that pressure. And I'm realizing that, okay, as I'm becoming more of a public person, it's very difficult to hide what God has blessed me with. So, as someone who has been able to manage wealth over time, how are you able to manage growing wealth? One, living your life based on what God has blessed you with. Two, and not being under too much pressure from those who want to collect from you. From those ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹfúnmini ẹ̀gbọ́n owó school fees ẹ̀gbọ́n owó ilé ẹ̀gbọ́n owó kìnnìkan ẹ̀gbọ́n owó, you know how it is now, bro. I'm sure you have them around you.
Yeah.
That family, cousins, nephew, and you also say, imagine going on Facebook and say, God has blessed me with a new car. Oh, thank God. Oh. And they see your car, bros, ẹ̀gbọ́n owó school fees, owó kìnnìkan. So how do you manage this three angle? Because it's an African thing. It's an African thing. The moment you have a level of wealth and you mistakenly portray it online, and they begin to come towards you, how do you manage it? Should we just live our lives quietly, just build wealth and wait till we are 70 and just live? Or how do you manage it part time? What do you do in your own place? That you live your life normally, you build your wealth, and you still help people. And those that are very, very extreme, I want to make consistent access. Those that come from uncle, family, aunties, brother. How do you manage them? And you don't, and when I mean manage them, I mean, how do you manage them that you probably don't offend them, or do you just go all out and offend them?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a difficult. What you're talking about now is a difficult aspect to manage. But before I got married, God gave me a little wisdom that I shared with my wife. And I said something. I said, I may be young. I've seen my mom. I've seen my dad. I've seen families try to choose sides. One will go to my dad in the office and not come home to collect money. My mom too, she'll be trying to do for her own siblings. You see, one thing I just noticed is this: women, I say this to men, you see, when a woman leaves you to marry gets married to you, all right, one of the fears she has in her mind is, who will take care of my parents? All right? I'm going to break it down into two aspects. If I give you my all, will my family be part of it? They may not be able to voice it out, but they also want the best. If she has a junior, she's thinking, I want him to study abroad. Are you going to... Now, this is it. I told my wife immediately, I said, you focus on my family. All right? Focus on taking care of my parents. Be in charge of their allowance. Everything they need, focus on them. All right? Let me focus on your family. Now, do you know what that did? It didn't give room for families to start talking. Because she spent so much time with her, and when they call me, oh, help me thank your wife. Oh, she's been a beautiful, wonderful woman. When her father sees me and her parents, they see me like a king.
Same, yeah.
To them. And you know what? You understand? That was one of the things we did. I said, I'm not even going to ask my parents what they want. You go and see. Whatever you do for them is fine. I will do for your family. All right? So we had a simple principle that even before our family knew, it took them a while to understand that principle. Now, again, apart from doing for our family, you see, one thing that helped me do was, my wife, I was able to take care of our junior ones. All right? Our junior ones, I made sure they went some of them wanted to go for masters abroad. If my wife called me, for example, and said, oh, my dad called me and they said the TV in the house is fault. Now, please don't be under pressure again, like I said. But if I have the money, I will order that TV before she says the next again. All right? So, before she felt it was easy for my wife to give me her all. because she felt if this guy is successful, my brothers will not lack. All right, because naturally I carried along. Right, send our brother and sisters to private schools about to 1 million and all that. So she's able to take care of my own family, and I don't really get pressure from home.
them.
Are you getting me? But let's now talk about the
So
extended
yourself,
ones
they will kill you.
on social media.
They will kill you.
Okay.
See, the uncles I will see
Yeah,
on social media,
yes.
I don't understand that you are trying to work together.
Yeah.
You know, see your social media. Oh, Adeni is always on social. Daniel is always on social media. That guy is doing well and everything. They don't know what you're doing to put things because they don't know you're trying to be consistent for a better future.
Yes.
They don't know all that. They just see the glamorous picture. You understand?
Yeah.
I will give you an example. I've had families who will tell me, my uncles, their wife will just email me. Usually, it's always their wife. Oh, I want to set up my shop. Can you give me X amount of money? I don't reply. Usually, I'll be honest. I don't reply. I don't reply, but I have an intention of what to do. Guess
Okay.
what? Some of you insult me for not replying. Like, what do you feel like? You think you have money because I asked you. Even after the insult, after 1 week, I will now do what I want to do. Maybe they asked for 200,000. I will now give 50. Do you know why I did that? Because at the end of the day, they now feel so embarrassed to say thank you. I've used that opportunity to box them in a corner, show them I was bigger than your insult. So come back next time. You insulted me before I gave you, you will feel so uncomfortable to come back again. Because even with the insult he gave me, I don't deserve this guy. So really, I don't think there's one formula to it all. But what I just always advise is this. One of the ways is this. My wife, most times when our in-laws call her and everything, I just say to her, tell them this is what we can afford. If it's 10,000 naira, that's what I can afford. I have some people who call you, the man, they said 1 million is missing. Your husband helped me. Yeah, your husband helped me. Oh, we need 1 million naira, please. They said money in the bank. I work in the bank. The period where people give me pressure, I don't respond. That's my style. I would not respond. That's why I said, men, you need to learn how to handle this pressure. Whether you give them or not, they will still insult you. They don't like you. They don't like you. All right? So I calm down and I look for another opportunity when they don't expect surprise. Now, it doesn't mean I don't care about them. When they are putting pressure on me, I don't respond. All right? But when maybe after like 2 months, oh, it's their birthday, I could say, oh, give Auntie 15,000 naira. So she knows that I'm not one to always come and rush or demand from. I will do it when I want to. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake of when they come quickly, you give it to them quickly.
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake. You become, before you know it, they keep coming back. Make them understand that sometimes I may not have. I may not have to be silent. My silence helps me to say, you don't know whether I have or not. I'll just keep quiet. Once I don't respond, that is it. But I will show you that I care about you at another occasion where I can say at least take 50,000. Even sometimes what you demanded for, I may not give you that much at that time. But whenever maybe I now feel more comfortable, I may even give you triple. Just to show you that you don't control how I spend
the time
money.
we spend.
I dictate how you do
that.
You understand? So please don't, as long as you are doing, you don't just shut them off. You understand? I will share something with you quickly. When I met my wife, most of our family were not engaged with her. They bring off. All right? I took the conscious effort to go and beg most of them, those that were never living in Nigeria. I told my wife, you need your family. All right? You need to care about your family. You need to come back. I made sure I brought my wife and her family back together. Are you getting me? But after that, I make sure I just one of them and support. One of them and support. So they know that there is very principled. Even if I'm sharing money on Facebook and you're a member of my family and you box, if you are not on my list, you are not there.
You're not on the list.
You understand? If you're not on the list, you're not on the list. They should know you. You understand? I always tell, even I tell my family, sometimes I have to, well, I have a lot of them. I have two guys that we met at school. One of them had a phone, needed a phone, and the other needed a phone. And I just woke up one morning and I told one, go and buy. And I told the other one, God did not send me to you. But I was teaching him I was teaching him a lesson that, see, and it's true. If I didn't give you money part time, God did not send me to you, because I usually pray for wisdom to give. You have to be careful where you give your money.
True.
I believe in putting money in the right places. So I pray for wisdom. I always tell. So I told him, be patient. And guess what? The next time they were going to school, I gave him my Samsung. The other guy bought a Techno. I said, when you waited for God's time, you got a better phone. If you were complaining that your uncle was bad, I'm not even your uncle, I'm helping you. But if you're complaining I'm a bad person, you won't have gotten the Samsung.
Gotten that one.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So I teach them that discipline of patience.
Financial discipline.
Are you getting it? So please, sometimes don't look at that. They will call you bad. Don't look at that. All right? Because, bro, sometimes, let's be honest. Unfortunately, sometimes when these people work, there's no money at that time. So there's no money. Let's be honest.
Plenty times. Plenty times. So
let's be honest. Everybody gets broke. Everybody gets broke. There are periods where they'll be asking me for money in the house. I'll just be nodding my head. I don't have, but I have to be calm.
True.
I have to be calm. I just house where, or we are doing a property. The next morning and it's Wednesday. Everybody, I will just not. So, do not let family members put you on pressure. You have to define your standard of how. Make them understand you are your own man. You are your own man, and you will give part time and when you can, not the rush. Let me tell you, one thing I've noticed about people is that some people are parasites. Once they see you as an opportunity, they see there's an opportunity to milk you.
Becomes consistent.
They will milk you dry, and when you get broke,
and move to the next person,
to laugh at you.
Yeah, when anything goes back. Very true.
They will milk you dry. So please, I beg you, for God's sake, men who are listening, even women who are listening, when your husband is being pressured to give money, usually I always ask, when your family don't talk, just so it doesn't say you are choosing side, all right? You know, men, some like me, I could be I take care of my wife's side, but I always, let's come back to this manhood thing, wife's family, but I would never allow my wife to say my family is demanding too much. That line must be drawn. That's the man there. All right? Hey, no, don't go there. Just say, you can even tell me, it's always, maybe he needs money all the time. Not try to joke or mock them. I draw the line immediately. You understand? Oh, don't do that, darling. Don't do that. I think we're getting out of line. And if I do the same, I apologize immediately. There was a time I always say to wife, your dad like money. He calls me on the phone. Let's be fair. I hope my wife is not listening. If he calls me on the phone, you will be richer. You will be richer in Jesus' name. You will be blessed. This is your dad. All the prayer point is money. You know, but at some point it was a joke.
But after a while, it became calm down.
You understand? So I had to stop saying that to her, because I felt after a while it started sounding like an insult. Like saying your daddy like money. So again, talking about manhood, you must learn to know how to strike a balance. And sorry, one thing, Daria was saying something the other time. I just want to brought it that quickly in 2 minutes. You see, I was most men here. One of the mistakes most of us make is that we fail to admit that we need help. All right?
See, very valid point. Very
I
valid
will
point.
run to somebody.
Very valid point.
Right?
Very,
I
very,
will
very,
not
very valid
shy
point.
away from the fact that I need help.
Yeah.
And most men, because we want to be masculine, we always claim we know it all. It's not possible. Some things I do not know. When I read, for example, from Lake, I always feel, what kind of wisdom is this? What this guy is about makes sense. Be with your
Yeah.
children. I believe in work. I can do video call with my kids. It's fine. But I notice every day I must spend 1 hour video call. I'm not with them now. Just to engage them, to ask them questions about their books. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Why? Reading from him makes me understand that fatherhood
Must be
must be
there.
there. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
You must be there. So
Yeah.
most times don't admit you know it all. Most times I always feel we know, is it not fatherhood? No, you don't know it all. So you need to learn from people who can educate you. All right. And please, let's stop listening to wrong people. I know we all know this, we've heard this in church. Wrong people.
You know?
That is very, very important.
Right.
Stop listening to wrong people. Pastor CMS Bell, I follow you also. You may not know that. I watch your energy. I see your energy.
Yeah.
All right. God bless you. I see your energy. Franklin David, I've heard about you once too. Let me stop there.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right, bro. All right. Thank you so much, man. That's very. We just gave a couple of valid points that are really, really very important. And I think what I've learned from you is, just be your own man. Just be your own man. Help people, but help them based on your own, priorities, your own discipline, your own financial discipline, because it's something. And I think I'll wrap up with that at the end of this call of time. So, but Leke, I have just 2 questions to ask. I think that's towards Leke, and let me come to Leke now. The new trend amongst young men now is baby mamaism. 5 women, get them pregnant, have kids, so you have 5 children, and you can live your life for the next 60 years, for the next 40 years, just doing your thing. No marriage pressure, nobody's in your house. After 60 years, you come and pick any of the 5 women who are still single, then you marry one and put her in your house, and life goes on. And it's becoming a trend. And it's an influence that is being driven from the entertainment industry, which is gradually crippling into things, because many people are now beginning to see the marriage/parental institution as a burden, as a demand, as something that traps you. And to be very sincere, it is. If you're not very, very cautious, you can be trapped grooming your children for 20 years and you will not even think of your own life, because you want to give them the best. There was a philosophy I had from school days. I always tell myself that, look, the kind of life I'm building, I will give my children the best. I also give myself the best. We will not, there's a saying in Yoruba land that I am living because of my children. I'm here on earth because of my children. And many of us grew up with that ideology that, okay, once you're an adult and you marry and you have kids, your life ends. It's now your children. Give them the best. And you as yourself, you're not doing anything for yourself. You're not giving yourself, the best. So how do you come in from the aspect of fatherhood, from the aspect of parenting? That's the first question. The second question is the aspect of men who want to wait till a particular age bracket to start having kids. I mean, get married, settle down, and have kids. Now, why am I asking this question? The past 3 months has been something else. Having to be in lockdown with a toddler. It is not something you want to be doing at age 45. I can categorically assure you that, I have to tell my wife that men that marry at 40, 45, how do they manage these things? How do they manage it? Because it's a very sensitive stage. The kids are all on you, and you cannot be all on them. You have to manage them like egg. It's a very complex growing period. And since we began the lockdown in February till now, it's every single day has been a learning process of pressure. I'm like, what advice do you have for men who are like, I want to have it all before I settle down, and get married, and all might be at 40, 45. So men actually wait till like 45. Many men actually wait longer in this era now to get married because they believe that they want to have the money. So is it all about money? Is money the key tenet that determines when you should settle down and start having kids? What are those components? So 2 questions in one quickly, because I want us to be out of here in next 15 minutes thereabout.
Daniel, you're not clear. You give me this kind of question.
That's why I didn't send the question to anybody. I intentionally kept all the questions for everyone.
Okay, I trust God for the wisdom, but let's start with the baby mama issue. Now, the men that are having baby mamas, right? Let us understand how that happened. You rightly said it started from the entertainment industry. The average young guy spends a lot of his life looking at entertainment. 9 times out of 10, if you check the lives of these men that subscribe to baby mamaism, if I'll say it that way, they're either coming from broken homes that do not have a strong positive male influence. Ultimately, you become what you constantly look at. Remember when Jacob was going to skim his way out of being under the fold of Laban? He put something in front of the goats, and the goats produced after what they saw. So we watch this entertainment. Is on social media. Is everywhere. We see that. But what makes it attractive is that we can attach being a baby mama to the success of our role models. Now I'm speaking like one of those guys subscribe to me. So we attach that, okay, this guy is successful and he has a baby mama. So while we aspire for the success, which we cannot reach yet, the one we can easily reach is the woman who we can impregnate. So I am ultimately reproducing what I saw, even though the success part I can still aspire to it. But it makes me feel good that at least Mobi Mosita, and then in my mind, I'm becoming like my hero. Every guy, no matter how old or young you are, we want somebody we can look up to as a hero.
Yeah.
And if responsible men, that's why I agree with what Tayo said, that we have to be relevant, and whether you like it or not, that means being out there. It's a risk, but for the sake of the people that will look at us and say, you know what, I like what Tayo is doing. Husband to one wife, faithful, he is working. I want that kind of thing. I want like all of that. I will learn his hard work without the baby mama drama. I watched an interview by, I think, Iyanla Vincent, and between, I think, 20-something guys, 28 guys or so, they had about 100 they had about 150 children. So what happens is that 150 children have been born into the world, and they start out dysfunctional. So the reason why, the reason why it is a fad is because of what it sort of gives them. But now, how can fatherhood address this? One of the definitions of fatherhood is that we are the platform upon which everything flourishes, which ties into what Pastor Tumishe said, that the man taking the spiritual leadership. See, you are the platform upon which everything flourishes. So fatherhood is putting myself out there to say, look, this is how it should be done. I'm going to set the example, even if it is going against the trend. And that is one aspect. The other aspect, which is the interventional stage, is when we can intercept these young boys. This is where mentoring. So when Tayo says he is mentoring, those artisans, subconsciously he's also teaching them fatherhood, because when they get close to you, they will see some of the places where you hurt. They will see some of the things that you do. The last thing on their mind is that Mofelo from Oloyunta, because they know that they will lose the access they have with him. So because of the approach Tayo is taking, subconsciously he's addressing this baby mama issue. Because one of the things is that there is a spiritual aspect that a woman plays. If a woman is happy with you, there is a certain success that comes. Now, think about all the kind of drama that these young guys are keeping on their head, because they don't even know. So some guys, they don't even know. They just feel that this is what my guys are doing, I should also do.
Let me just do it. Yeah.
So one of the very potent ways that fatherhood can address it is by mentoring, modeling what it is to be a man. Not modeling what it is to be a perfect man, because there are no perfect men, but modeling what it is to be a man, available with my mistakes. But this area, just like Tayo said, we draw the line here. So that's one of the ways that, fatherhood can address it. Because of time, let me go to the second one. Waiting to have kids.
Yeah, okay. The way you pause.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let us use our imaginative mind, right? I don't know, I don't know how old your oldest child is. Tayo, how old is your oldest child? Let me take it from there.
Yeah, she is 4. Yeah, it's going to 5.
6.
6.
Okay,
Okay.
6, 4. Pastor Tumishe, do you have a child? How old is your
No.
oldest child?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so my son too is also 6. So
Yeah.
give or take, there's like a 30, 31,
Yeah.
29 years
One.
old gap.
Yeah. That's gap. Yeah.
So add, let's say, add 30 years to your age.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm. Hmm.
look at the picture
Hmm.
of you having
Hmm.
a child already,
Hmm.
right? And that
Yeah.
you're
Child
60,
becoming an adult.
and
Yeah.
then
And the
your
child is
child is
already in his
30.
30s.
Now, imagine you are strolling on the road.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can only do that
Hmm.
because at 60, you still have energy. But if you say you want to wait till you are 45, 60, or 50, 45 to have that first
50.
car because you want to get all these things ready, two things happen. By the time your child is 30, you're already on your way out
You're
because you're
already
in
in your
your 70s.
70s.
Most and generally, you have spent all
Experiences.
your viable energy trying
Energy.
to build that thing, and then your physical body begins to shut down because of law of diminishing returns. That is one aspect. The other aspect of waiting to have all of them before you have your kids is your children are robbed of the opportunity to learn what it means to build.
Okay.
Some of the lessons we learned from our fathers, we saw it when they were grafting. So that taught us how to hustle. Niyi, I'm coming straight at
Yeah.
you. You saw your parents struggle, so it
Yes. Now.
builds that entrepreneurial.
Yeah. We entrepreneurial
Niyi is
drive.
one of those people, die hard, we die there kind of mentality, because somebody modeled it for you.
Yeah.
They showed you the success, but more importantly, they showed you the process.
The
Because
process. Yeah.
when we leave the scene, if Jesus tarries, our
Yeah.
children will need to build new
Children.
processes. And if they've not seen us model it, they'll be stuck. You understand? Now,
Yeah.
another angle is, let me, because I took it down. Now, I like the Western world for this, how they buy pets. I used to think, why is all these mushy things? But a pet in your house, a dog or a cat, helps deflect the pressures of life on a daily basis. So the pressures you have is turned into affection because you can transfer it to someone. The reason why many marriages, even especially in this period, check it, more marriages that are struggling in this period is marriages that don't have kids. Why? All I'm seeing is the woman, all I'm seeing is the man. There are some days I don't want to see you. Just let me be in my own space. Now, when you have a dog, you can deflect that pressure to that dog. Take the dog for a walk. Take the cat for a walk. Now, let us replace the dog with a child. What a child does is that it is a pressure diffusing point for the parent. Now, we might say that their pressure is even more. But guess what?
Yeah.
They are focusing on them and not yourself. So much so that
Yeah.
when those little monsters sleep, when those little
They are
monsters
so
sleep,
cautious.
you and your wife have a safe place to, like, you detox amongst yourself. So instead of having pressure, you are having bonding because the children have drained you. So at that point, you give yourself replenishment. So if you say you want to wait before having kids, these are the potential loopholes that you fall into because you are trying to know, no, this one has to be in place. Even Jesus didn't have it all in place. It's still built along the way, grafting here and there. So just two things I would like to say in that: if you cannot help but wait, that is understandable. But if it is the case you want to have everything, that's a bit selfish because you're saying you want them to have everything easy in life is actually making their life more difficult because they're going to face some realities that, man, I didn't see this, and I faced those realities. But luckily for me, I had surrogate fathers because I didn't grow up with my father. I had surrogate
Yeah.
fathers who I saw build things, who I saw fall and rebuild. So when it comes to building, it's a natural thing. It's not a pressure point. It is a natural thing. It comes with its pressures, but addressing building from a pressure point. I'm addressing it from the fact that, oh, this has to happen for this to happen. So if we do not allow our children to see that because we want to wait, we're cheating them. So my
Wow.
own is the earlier the better, so that it is two things. I can look cool strolling with my child at 60 and my
Child,
child
maybe
is
at
30.
60.
You
Yeah.
understand that kind of a thing?
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
also I can build strong boys and strong girls. You understand? They know what it is to build,
Yeah.
so that when their husband is struggling, they have seen me struggle, so they will
You have
not
an
think.
understanding.
You understand? You understand? So if all the child saw was success, you expect your husband to be successful from day one. That thing doesn't work like that. But when they've seen me and my wife's graft, try to build this, make mistake, they can be easy on their husband, and that way you can build that relationship. So that is my
Wow.
summary. Yeah.
Like, I hope the brothers are actually listening, because the guys actually need to hear it. I hope they're actually listening and hearing the word. We need to wrap up now. So I'll just give everybody 1 minute. So final word for the men out there. Final word, just 1 minute, and I'll start with Franklin. 1 minute, so we can leave here as soon as possible. So Franklin, 1 minute, your final word for the men out there, from your angle, from the emotional angle. Final word.
All right.
1 minute.
So I want to read from Scripture, John 6.
Okay.
No, I know.
Okay.
John 6:63. He said, "It is the spirit that quickeneth; the flesh profited nothing.
Yeah.
But words that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life."
Life.
Because I was talking from the place of emotion, I believe that in more than anything in the time that we live in, we need to allow God to breathe on our flesh and our emotions. That is one of the only places that you can walk in wisdom constantly. And even in my own life, you want to work in wisdom, you need to allow God to breathe on your emotions, on your intellect, on your feelings, so that you can always ooze. You can be different. That's just what I want to say. And the reason why I'm saying it is because I think that in the time that we live in is very interesting, and you can be so everywhere and allow the pressure get to you, and forget that there's a person in the place of the Holy Spirit that is supposed to help you navigate this very interesting terrain that we have. Thanks, guys.
All right. So Darren,
Awesome.
please, final word. Dre, just 1 minute. Final word for the men out there. Is that right there? Okay. Bro, Oyerokun, please. Baratayo, please. Final word for the men out there from the aspect of wealth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'll just say to most men out there is, please build your power of self-confidence back. I know there are women are more successful, not just in Nigeria, around the world, but men need to start their self-confidence back. One thing I want to assure most men is, if we really want to heal this land, God needs men to heal the land. I have verses I can use to back this up. God needs men building that. That's why even when they called the 12 disciples, the 12 disciples were always there, but women always follow naturally. So God needs men to build the land. So please, there's so many things out there bashing you for, right?
Yeah.
Feminism, finance, and all that. But please build your self-confidence with the little you have.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, bro. Brother Timothy, please, final word for the men from the spiritual angle. Final word for the men out there. Yes.
Thank you. I would say that every man should not allow society to define who they are. Let God's word define who you are. Bible says, be not conformed to the world. Don't be conformed to the world's ideologies. Allow God's word to be the foundation of who man is. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you so much. Dre, final word for the brothers out there, final word for the men. 1 minute, final word for all the men out there. Yeah, Dari. Yes, you. Yeah, final word. Yes, final word for the men out there. Final word for the men out there.
Okay.
From the sociological aspect.
Okay. I think it's important that you. I think it's important that you understand yourself. You understand your journey. You understand the patterns that God has designed for you. It's very, 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 very important. And always make sure that the decisions you are making are internally generated, that there is an assurance or a conviction from within, and you are not under the pressure of the environment. It's I don't know why I'm saying this, but it's what I've been dealing with in the last 1 week, to also understand that my environment is not as powerful as what is within me. So once what is within me is at optimum drive, I can withstand pressure. I can ignore whatever is
Yes, yes,
happening
yes.
around me. I'm not distracted by the new person who is doing something new and doing something great. I'm just designed by what God has convinced me about, and I'm decided to do this. I
Yeah.
think we should all go and read Pastor Koju's post. I think today or yesterday, about personal conviction, why it is important. Once you are convinced that what you are doing is what you have been assigned to do, you will not be under pressure from what happens around you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, brothers. Lakey, final word, fatherhood. Final word from Lakey. Final word, fatherhood.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, First Kings chapter 2 and verse 2 says, now this was David charging his son, Solomon. He said, I go the way of the earth. Be strong, therefore, and prove yourself a man. That was one of the best words that David could tell Solomon. It was like handing a baton to the next generation of men. Prove yourself a man. So as men, we in this generation, we should live in such a way that when we raise our sons and the other young men that we mentor, we can pass on a legacy to them that says, this I've done my part. This is your turn to prove yourself as a man. Now, fatherhood is one of the most honorable platforms God has given men. God does not share his glory, but the name father is shared with man. That should tell you how important it is and how important we are to God. So as fathers, we should take the responsibility to shape the next generation. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. This has been a very, very wonderful discussion segment. I've learned some crazy level of wisdom. Crazy level of wisdom. We're going to ensure that this is going to continue over time, maybe quarterly or as God give us more time. We're going to ensure that we're bringing all these. Even if I notepad my phone, we're going to ensure we build this conversation and all this engagement via the Ravecity TV platform. I want to thank you. Thank you, Lakey, for coming in. Thank you, Dari. Thank you, Franklin. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Tayo. Thank you for your wisdom, your crazy indigenous wisdom. Thank you, Pastor TVC. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who connected. I love you guys. I can see you guys here. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for being our audience. And you can, please share this broadcast, share it on your page, share it on your platform. Let all the brothers come in and learn from what we've shared here today. By 8 p.m. tonight, we'll be having a special guest for the night session. So please reconnect if you're available. Those of you who are watching the platform, and I want to thank everyone who has been on this platform. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and God bless you. And we are out of this place until 8 p.m. Have a good evening. Cheers, guys.
All right. All right. Everyone have a good evening.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening, guys.